Gordon, send more house to save the house. Come on, the house!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Housecast, Lowerhouse Cricket Club's podcast, which has been a little bit intermittent over the last few weeks. But it's safe to say I've got probably my favourite co-host on tonight that we can chat through things with and talk the guests all through his career and what's going to happen in the future. Welcome, Gav Shields. How's it going, Gav?
Evening, Jeremy. Yeah. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. I'm very well, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah. It was interesting, really. I think on Saturday night we had about 6 or 7 discussions about the podcast and how we've got to do more and we've got to try and get it as back to how it was. But when COVID were here, we're 24/7, weren't we? Nothing but podcasts.
I hope you can remember some of them conversations because I can't, mate. Because I think we had a few lager tops, haven't we?
Well, it wasn't just the lager tops. I know you like your San Miguel and the strong designer lagers, but it's the first time I've ever known that Lowerhouse have got a real ale on that is over 5%. And I'm not sure whether it was, I've got 5.7 in my head or 5.4. And when I used to start drinking with Roger Brahman, Jack Hayes and my dad, it would never got above 3.
We're chestnut mild, 5%, no?
Was it 8, serious? So after, and I knew I clocked it straight away, and Matt Stanley said, "Oh yeah, give me a headache once." Well, anyway, why have we still got it on?
Yeah, what an injury that'd be for Stanley, yeah.
I know. So, but after 3 or 4 of them, I was definitely rocking. And for the listeners' benefit, Tony Woodworth put on a fantastic evening for his birthday in aid of raising money for Alzheimer's, which, I really hope they raised quite a lot of money because it was well put on by Tony. But that's a serious bit out of the way because I think Tony had 10 pints of it and I literally had to take him home. Not a word of a lie. And he might come on and dispute this, but it's not an easy job taking Tony home.
No, I've tried on a few occasions and it's certainly not easy, mate.
Oh, when his legs aren't working. Judith was good help, walking in front. But we got there and we had a great night, I think, and let's hope they've raised lots of money. So this evening's podcast, we've got a youngish lad on in relative terms compared with some of our previous guests. It's interesting, really, that this lad's coming on and we want to talk about next season in particular, but he's following the England's white ball coach as the last podcast guest. No pressure whatsoever, Simmy. But welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Thank you very much for having me. And thankless task.
Yeah, it seems to be. But like I said, there's no pressure. Motti was on the last podcast, which if people haven't listened to it, please go and have a listen. I can't remember, I think we're up to about 11,500 listens on that for the New English white ball coach who's been very successful. And then we've got Jack Simm on to talk about Lowerhouse second 11 captaincy. So no pressure, Simmy, no pressure at all.
No, none at all, none felt.
I'm backing you, Simmy. I'm backing you, Sim. No problem.
All right, 11,000, a measly 11,000.
That's right, yeah. You'll have to get all your mates onto it. So,
sure they will.
No, really appreciate it, Simmy, coming on. As we've said, we've had a little chat before this, real informal. It's just really, so you'd be surprised how many spectators and listeners enjoy understanding where the young players come from, how they got into cricket, how they feel about it, what the fors and againsts are for playing for Lowerhouse, etc., etc. So I really appreciate it, Simmy, for you coming on. So how's things at the moment? You're in the middle of winter. How's it going in winter? You're at uni at the moment and you digs, I can see.
I'm at uni, starting to get to grafting now. Dissertation due in just over a month, so cracking on with that. So it's going well. Going to start trying to get into cricket. I know I've got winter nets on Wednesday and stuff, but can't say I've played much over winter, to be honest with you.
No. No, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, when you're only a young lad and you're at uni doing everything else, and I'm sure your studies come into it somewhere, but I'm sure there is socialising as well.
Oh, not at all. I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. Yeah, me and the lads, plenty of nights out and stuff. So
good. No, good. That's good to hear. So, what we're going to do, Simmy, we're just going to talk through, how you came to be involved in cricket. You came down to Lowerhouse, and Gav had some really good input around the second team going back a few years. Played quite a bit there and contributed to the. I think it's fair to say, Gav, I don't know if I'm being out of order here, but when we started to progress under the Stan Heaton scholarship, if you will, and getting the young players coming through, the likes of you and Charlie and Mus and these other players, that the second team started to prosper as well, which is automatic. I mean, just give us a brief oversight of what it was like, Gav, for you lads in the second team, and then eventually getting the team, and then when you went on to coach them, just to give a picture for the.
It was brilliant, and to be honest with you, I think we've mentioned this a few times on podcasts. This last sort of season or two under Matt's stewardship, there's been a real sort of togetherness with second, or as an outsider looking in. There seems to be a real group of them. Stim is very much at the heart of that. But when we were there, there were 8 or 9 of us who, we're all good pals, and 6 or 7 of us were all same age, and 4 or 5 of us went the same year at school. So we literally, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, we were good pals, and then after a game, we'd always be down at club or we'd all be going out in town. So, very quickly, we become a tight group. And that's what it's been really good to see sort of over this last sort of couple of seasons, really, getting promotion from division below and then, and cracking on, in top division. They really does, when they all get back to clubhouse and they all have a laugh and they're all Mickey taking and that, I do think it does play a part when times get hard and, and you're looking round, it makes a difference when, you're out there with your pals. And I think Lowerhouse in past, I think that's what we used to draw on a bit too much in sometimes. But I think the second team are getting back to that. And like I say, Simmy's very much at the forefront of that. And I'm sure it'll flourish under his leadership.
Yeah, I must admit, Gav, that I can see that at the times, the atmosphere and the camaraderie that he's developing back there. There's always been good players, and there's a first team that they're going to feed coming in. And it'd be interesting to see what you think of that, especially you've gone through the juniors. Can you just give us a background to when you started?
Probably I was couldn't put a finger on it, but about 7 or 8 when I joined Lowerhouse.
Okay. Sorry for dropping you in it there. Joe Martin just signed in the middle of that. I thought it were going to bin us. I mean, he's caused so much mayhem as Joe tonight. Unbelievable.
Yes.
We can see if you can explain that away. So
I'm here.
Yes, we know you're here. Oh, hang on a minute. There's someone in the background. Oh, it looks
Patrick.
like the village.
How have I caused mayhem?
Because we all logged in, and because there wasn't a host,
Right.
We couldn't record it.
Well, how have you managed to do it?
It's just with intuition and skill.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway,
Joe, sorry, Jez, don't start with your lip, Joe. You're on thin ice, you sunshine. So don't.
Oh well, I'll take my Zoom account and we'll go. Oh dear.
Right.
See, when you're not here, Joe, it all falls apart, mate.
It does when you're not there.
Oh, I can believe it.
Right, we've managed, Joe. So I'll just give you a quick recap.
Managed.
We've managed. We've gone through Saturday night, and me and Gav not been able to remember from about 9 p.m. Simmy's been on, and we've had the introduction. We're just up to the point now where Gav was talking about the camaraderie in the second team and how that is coming, or it is coming back. Definitely has come back in the last couple. So we're just going through when Simmy first started at the club, and I think you said, Jack, you was about 7 when you first.
Yeah, I think so. Around there, 7, maybe 8.
Yeah, brilliant. What was it like then?
I can't remember, to be honest.
It's not that long ago.
It's always a good answer for a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. All I remember is playing sort of with my cousin Joe, my uncle Pete's lad, on the front street and he was down at Lowerhouse, and I think I just sort of had sort of a natural ability, like hand-eye coordination kind of thing, and started playing well. So I came down. Remember being in the nets, and then next minute I had my whites on, playing for under nines.
And I know you say you can't remember. It's not that long.
It feels it.
Can you remember Stan being there? You know, who else was there?
Oh yeah. So yeah, obviously Stan was the main sort of person that was involved in that, and obviously he has his sort of cohort of managers that he sends here, there, and everywhere. I think Eric was quite involved then. Eric Howarth.
Yeah.
And I remember Jim Eaton.
Brilliant.
Took us quite a lot. And yeah, so they were both excellent with us and everyone. And then just sort of progressed through the age groups quite naturally, to be honest.
Yeah. So that is, and it, I'm thinking back to even when Gav and Joe. To be fair, there wasn't a under 7, under 5, under 9s, under 11s. It was literally I think under 15, under 18 when Gav there was 4 junior more. So that's a real indication of the progress of the club. That, obviously Stan was said, which is fine, as if he's been there forever, which he feels like he has. So credit and cap off to those coach, and we continue to bring the system with Eric. So how did it feel for you? And your dad was down there, like you said. Was it all enjoyable and sunny and everything was great?
I think it was at that point, to be honest. It was get to play cricket Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after school, something to look forward to. Unless it was chucking it down with the rain and you didn't get to play, then it was all good, to be honest. I don't have any sort of negative views on that point. No.
How old would you have been when you got into twos, Sinner?
Oh, I don't know, about 15 maybe.
And who was skippering then? Would it? Who'd have been skippering then?
It'd have been ODP, I think.
Right.
Possibly. Right. That's the earliest memory I've got from the twos. ODP's captain. So just
tantrums.
Say that again.
Agatha's tantrums when he gets out.
Yeah. That's been apart for the last sort of 5-6 years. But obviously went into the twos again, similar to probably most people, is when people are missing, kind of doing well in the threes and then getting your chance, and then I obviously just back in sort of lower order, and obviously just got to try best fielding, and then can't remember who was missing. Probably Agger's off on holiday or something.
Probably.
And then Owen just came up and said, "Do you fancy opening the batting?" And it was quite unnatural to me, as it's turned out to be still in that role. But I did quite well in that season. So I think my first 50 was at Nelson, batting with ODP, and then in the next sort of 3 games, I think I got a couple more 50s. So I think that sort of cemented my place from there.
Happy days.
I mean, that's great. That that you're getting those scores at an early age. What would you have been then?
Yeah, probably 15, 16. 16 probably. I think I made my first team debut at the end of that season, which will have been 2017 maybe.
Okay.
Off the back of a few good scores.
Yeah. Which is quite a young age to go in and get the scores that you're getting, and good on the club for to that, getting the top 5. So you've progressed there with ODP, and you've managed to play with consistently in the second, and then made the odd first team debut. The odd first after your debut. How did it feel for you? Did you start to think that you were becoming not a senior, but you're holding your own? And how did you feel about your own performance progress?
Yeah, certainly towards the end of that season, when it was sort of cemented, and then you start feeling sort of part of the group. You can sort of get involved more with sort of the lads. You don't feel like you feel less of like a rabbit in the headlights kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you start sort of building from there. And then so then the next season, I think I had a bit of a wobble. And I was back in a place where it was sort of may not be getting picked for the seconds kind of thing. When we had the semi-final against Ramsbottom, was it or quarter-final? I can't remember exactly. Semi-final, I think. I think it was between me and Caleb whether we'd get selected. We obviously had quite a strong team at that point, so it was sort of quite a few up and downs through that stage.
Yeah. And was that just because of an age sync or your attitude or, a form? It could be sometimes it's just form.
Yeah, I don't think it was particularly attitude-wise. Maybe sort of application over attitude, as in training hard, working on technique. Because before that time, I'd had quite a bit of coaching from likes of Joe, Nigel, who's down at the club a lot of that time, working on technique. And then I think at the sort of that stage, that's where it was sort of left to yourself at senior training, working on what you want to do, and maybe the application wasn't quite there at that point.
What year was it where you got the you made in 15-15 in T20 on that Friday night at home? Was that your first year in first team or?
It's about 2 years ago, not
Right.
last summer, the summer before.
Right.
Yeah, so my first team career has been probably a bit strange, really. It's been like odd couple of games, not really getting an opportunity to bat. And then sort of when a few people are missing, going back into the first team, just really trying to grab that opportunity. So it's hard to really say when I made my first team debut kind of thing.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Place.
Yeah. It's been stop-start up till now.
Yeah.
That sort of leads us quite nicely, really, on to sort of obviously your appointment as second 11 skipper, Simmy, because I were quite when I read the news, I was quite pleasantly surprised, but I was surprised because I probably like a lot of members, I were expecting you to have a great start to the year and then kick on and put pressure on it first team and then go and have a strong first team career. So to then sort of take the second team job on, how, just so you can explain it, how do you see that working? Because obviously, they want continuity in the second 11, but that shouldn't hold you back as being one of the promising young players at the club and with ambitions to play first 11 cricket. So if you can just sort of tell us how it came about. Were you happy with it? Was it a no-brainer? Yeah, I'll do it. Or do you take some persuading? And then how will it work? If you start the season, say, mate, and you hit 80, 50, 10, 100, and there's a shop, do you go into first team? Has that even been talked about? Are you going to cross that bridge when we come to it?
Yeah. So probably started mid to end of last season. I think Matt started to miss a couple of games through injuries. He had a couple of injuries towards the end. And then, so throughout all of last season, I've sort of been the third most senior player because we've got obviously a really young side.
Yeah.
So it's been sort of Matt and Phil, so Finchy every now and again when he's played. And then sort of me. And so Matt sort of come up to me a few games asking like sort of my thoughts on it, on certain situations, ball and changes, etc. Any ideas he tended to run past me a little bit. And then obviously when he's been missing, and the likes of Haggers are also missing to not take captaincy or whether he didn't want it. I did a couple, 2-3 games last season. So then obviously when Matt's announced that he's retiring, I think it was then sort of passed on to me as an opportunity of whether I want to do it or not.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, like you draw attention to, my main issue or question was more than happy to do it, and I'm doing it, so really happy to do it, but as long as it doesn't affect my chance of getting a first team opportunity. So like I said, it's probably a bit of both. It has been spoke about as in it shouldn't affect my selection, but also it's going to be a case to cross that bridge when we get to it, kind of thing. For how it's sort of dealt with it, especially from the second 11. So I think Charlie Bithell's vice captain. Obviously he's the next one to take over if, say, I do go up the first 11, and then work from there.
All right. So what sort of, you said you've done it a couple of games there, and so what do you enjoy about being the captain? What do you think you naturally do well? What sort of, or what things do you think you need to work on? And also as well, what support is there going to be for you? Because obviously you're still a young lad, you're still sort of getting to learn your own game, really, aren't you? As opposed to looking after 10 other idiots. So, so what support's there for you as well, mate? Because obviously you need the time to learn as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I think obviously because it's a young group and I've majority grown up with most of them, or when they have come through, obviously it's not as daunting to speak to, say, someone like me than maybe an older head.
Yeah.
We've got quite a good sort of like group of lads that are happy to sort of speak to me about any ideas. I think maybe previously, if any of the lads are thinking, oh, should we do this, should we do that, they're not as confident to say, go to Matt and say it.
Yeah.
But I think if with someone that they sort of used to being around, growing up with, that they might even like just drop their ideas with me. And obviously, unlikely coming from any of them bunch, but it might be.
Hey, you never know, mate.
It might be a good one. So yeah, I think that sort of communication side will be good, and then working on is probably my concentration, because I've can drift off every now and again. But it's probably a good thing. It'll keep me concentrated. It's always something to think about, rather than just boundary riding for 45 overs, picking it up every 3 overs. But yeah, and then what was the second part?
So yeah, what sort of support during games? I mean, I know you and Little work well together. You know, he's a good lad, isn't he? But you know, is there a plan for support to be there? I mean, I know during home games, Eaton will be there, won't he? So he'll be happy to help and give you any support that you need, won't he?
Yeah, so I think Matt's still going to be quite involved, especially in sort of the committee side of it, the selections, the letting people know if we ever get to an opportunity, not an opportunity, but when it comes to someone, we have to pick someone over another. He'll sort of deal with that side, which is a big help for me. And then in terms of match day, I think Joe might have spoke to Phil Metcalf, who should maybe there with Declan anyway, because Declan will be a firm part of the squad next year.
Oh, well, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so if Phil's happy with that, I'm not sure if Joe spoke to him yet or not.
Podcast exclusive.
Yeah, I know.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, fantastic. Here we go.
Might have dropped Joe in it there, but it's for him to deal with. For just sort of kind of a manager role, but it'd be more team sheets, warm-ups. If obviously happy to take any sort of cricketing advice on board as well, because he's played himself for a long time.
Absolutely.
But just to help with sort of the running on the day. So kind of all bases covered, which is a really big help for myself.
Good stuff. Good stuff, mate.
Simmy, that is, a good explanation. It's good from as far as us three can see there. I know Joe Martin's probably a little bit more involved. That is in place, because it is, whether the captain's role is so important. It's vital. They're not called leaders for no reason. Matt will. How will you deal with, any daft in the dressing room? If you get, I'm aware of there's a character in there that might be a little bit of handful.
You can say that again.
You're a character yourself. I'm led to believe being daft. How are you going to cope with them, and how are you going to stamp your mark on time?
Yeah, like you said, I think it is one of them town or place things. Hopefully, majority of them, barring a few, understand that. Like I say, it'll just become clear sort of when we're in the dressing room, sort of 10 minutes before we go out, batting a ball in. It'll be like, right, now lads, come on, switch on kind of thing, if any of them can. And then, but yeah, still definitely not taking away that camaraderie. Like you say, it's so important, especially in a second team dressing room, to get all the lads together, make sure everyone, if they can get in for a beer, beer after. So yeah, it's a fine line, to be honest with you, but hopefully can get that sorted.
I think as well, Simmy, I think what you'll find as well is, mate, because they are a good set of lads and they're your pals, they'll probably understand that, you're early on in the job, and they'll probably get behind you and help you. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely.
And whereas, if it were a more older person or established person or more experienced person, they probably wouldn't, and they might lift a leg or whatever. But they might appreciate that. It's our mate here. Come on, we need to get his heads on. So I'm sure it'll be fine, pal. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh no, definitely. We all joke about them being 10 idiots, but no, they're all cracking lads.
Good set of lads. Absolutely.
Mate.
And I was just going to say exactly the same, Gav. You've got to use that, though, Jack, to your advantage. You can rely on them. Go through a brick wall for you when it matters. You've got to have that switch where you can be daft with them and you do the crazy, but all of a sudden, right, even in the middle of a game, 25 overs, back is, and once you leave like that, they will follow you without a doubt. I don't know if you're aware, going back a number of years, the second team captain, the dressing room, some of the players, well, one of the players, they were mid-game, whacked the ball at him. It went right through the times and smacked him on the nose.
Wasn't aware of that one.
Yeah,
didn't happen today. Didn't happen.
No, it sounds made up to me.
Yeah. Well, listen to recording. Joe Martin, as far as the group of players who he was around coming through the coaching setup, what were first of all, your views as a coach with that group of players? How were they compared to the younger ones now? I don't think we coached anyone. And then the second question, how we do
Well, first of all, Jez, you'd be surprised how old some of the people are that I've coached. So I think the first thing to say on that group for Simmies on the APP was the very first bunch of APP players.
Right.
And they were all extremely talented. And the way that the program was set up at the time was that when they got to 16, they would move off the program. And once they moved off, we'd still offer support and whatever, but they were coming to the GCSEs and we thought that they needed to concentrate on other things. Yeah. But I think in hindsight, we probably got that wrong. And that's not an assessment of anybody's ability. It's a pragmatic coaching assessment.
Yeah.
We should have kept them on and had more support for them, I think, because they went from a period of a lot of intense coaching to almost kind of fend for themselves. So we were always there to help, but it's a different dynamic. But they were and are still an immensely talented bunch. And one of the things that Simmy said earlier was, about whether it'd still be picked in the first team or whatever. I think at any point you always pick your strongest team. So regardless of whether they hold a leadership position in the second team or whatever, you always pick your strongest team. So if Simmy has a great start, then there's no reason why he shouldn't be picked just because he's captain. And to be honest with you, I don't see why he can't play in the first team. He's always contributed extremely well when he's come in with limited opportunities, to say the least. But Simmy was at 16 a fantastic cricketer. He was great, aggressive. I don't know, did you open the batting at East Lancs, I think? Simmy,
that was my debut.
Yeah. And did extremely well. I think he got 10.
10, yeah.
Yeah. Did extremely well. I can't remember who you opened with. Could have been with Ben. Fantastic. So yeah, I think that it has a mass of talent. And there's no reason why I can't harness it. And that extra bit of pressure on leadership, I think, he can make a real dash because he's such a good player, as was shown in that T20 game when he got that 50, which was incredible. Really, really fantastic. Yeah. Which was also your first podcast appearance, I think, as well, Simmy, if I can remember correctly, too. But I don't know. But yeah, that would be my kind of assessment of it in a long-winded fashion, Jez. Simmy, excellent.
And to add to that, I think because of what he's gone through with the program, being one of the first group, it takes a lot of balls to take on what you're taking on now. But make no bones about it, there's nothing that you will ever come back and and Ben and Stan and because you've taken on that, got that lead. It's not about one space that's available in the team and they're looking in the second. Good on you.
The other thing you can say about Simmy, Jez, is that he is one of those players where you would never have any qualms about bringing him into the first team.
Yeah, I believe.
Do you know where? I mean, this might have already been discussed, I guess, but when you bring people in, or people come up with a natural rite of passage phrase, we'll run with it. But when people come in for the first time, you always say, "Well, I don't know if they're ready," or that kind of a bit unsure. There is never any doubt with Simmy. You always know that he's going to be excellent. So and that's one of the reasons why I think he was 12th man in the 2018 Cup final, because you knew that if something happened, Simmy would be absolutely spot on.
Yeah. And that then brings us on. I can bring Gav back in, Joe back in. And we've had a bit of we sent out on social media to ask if they've got any questions you or around going to happen, and we got a photograph through of a bottle of red wine.
Oh no!
Can you just talk us through what happened with that bottle of red wine?
I can absolutely talk you through that, and what a platform to say this on, because I think it needs to go out to everyone.
Go on, lad.
Right. So my mum, she's a generous lady and she likes to do sentimental things. However, she fails to sometimes run them past me. So following the 2018 was the goal final win, which Joe mentioned I was 12th man for. At the end of the season, she likes to get anyone who's anyone who has been a big help to me, taking me under the wing kind of thing, a present. So Matthew got a normal bottle of wine and a crate of beers. However, she thought it might be a good idea for her to give Ben a token gesture of a bottle of wine with a picture of me and him lifting the Worsley Cup with a message on saying thanks, Ben, from Jack.
I love
without
that.
running it past me.
That's lovely, that.
I thought it's lovely as well, Gavin, but others seem to think otherwise.
And I'll we'll put it out there. You know, you've summed your mum up fantastically well there. So she loves you to bits. She loves contributing and helping out. And anyone who's taking the mickey is out of order. And I'm not telling you sent me that picture and to ask you about it, but it's
a good guess.
Yeah, he was first team captain, second team captain. He's about that. Then I used to smash it dead straight when it looked like he was a point.
With his eyes shut.
As much as you don't mind, you love that. Mum joining the club and giving you and your kid the numbers and everything else. It's that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the way she is, an Oakley, and that's what club's all about. So. No, it's a great story, and I'm glad you cleared it up. We had a question on Twitter. So what are you looking forward to the most and also the least in the second team skipper this year and quite a young?
The most, I think, just being able to sort of put my own twist on things. Nothing going to be revolutionary at all, obviously. And there's no point in sort of looking at doing anything different to say what Matthew's done. Obviously been really successful as a group. But also just being able to put your own ideas on things, and ultimately obviously your decision is sort of the decision that gets done most of the time. So balling changes, etc. So just looking forward to sort of developing that side of things, and being able to take that further in my game and obviously develop my game as well. But also obviously the younger lads that I'm sort of close to, like Sir George, Joel, them kind of players, is just sort of seeing them develop as well with me, being able to talk to them about how they're thinking about the game kind of thing.
That's good. That's a great summary of what you do help develop those players. And also, it's a big thing. We'll come back to the second question. The way the Lancashire League is at the moment with the teams on the second, it's important that they maintain the status in the first division as much as possible. That's a real challenge for you. So what are you not looking forward to? This question has been asked. Someone in Twitter sent it. Who it is?
Good question. The least? Not sure, to be honest, off the top of my head. Like I say, just trying to herd them animals in the change room, but joking aside, they'll be fine. Like we said before, nothing particularly coming to mind with that one.
I've got one for you, Simmy.
Yeah,
I've seen you bat and seen you play, and it just looks ridiculously easy. It's frustrating at times. How we used to bloody struggle and prod and poke around, and you're smashing it everywhere. So, what do you think being captain can bring to your batting? How do you think it can improve your game?
Yeah, so I think, like I say, nothing will change drastically. Obviously, more of a see ball, hit ball, but in certain situations, like I say, it's taking on a lot more responsibility. I think it might not look like it, but in my mind, it felt like it came on a little bit last year. It's just understanding situations, building partnerships in certain times, kind of thing. And like I say, the classic sort of cliches like captain's knock. It's sort of trying to get as many of them in as possible, and really, like you said, just taking responsibility in certain situations.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
happy days. Well, everyone will be behind you, mate.
I think it's worth mentioning at that point. I wrote this down earlier, and it's a silly old fart who's played that. Make sure you don't take too much of a back seat when you're captain. Don't think we're going to win this game relatively easily. I'll send so and so. There's 20 and you need 60. Then all of a sudden you lose 3 quick wickets, and then you've got to go in and rescue with other people. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Put yourself up there to win the games, to lead by example. So many things that either didn't bowl when they didn't bat when they did. So that would be my little advice to you as far as playing your own game.
That might be my issue, not bowling when I should have done, but story in my career.
I believe you got a cheeky leg spin. So then, lastly from me, we were canvassing thoughts around it. So we got a question. I'll read it word for word, and so it might give you a clue who it's from. I'd like to know if Simmy is likely to change his current erratic and irresponsible batting style now he's captain.
Well, I won't call it that.
No, I wouldn't know.
I'd call it.
None of us have said it, Simmy.
No, absolutely. I don't know that, chaps. Probably not.
Okay,
No.
So I questioned him. I questioned this person. I said, how do I put that across there? And he said he's regularly out trying to hit one to the moon despite being 60 with 20 overs left. So I then went back to him and said, well, hang on a minute, is that not a little bit the kettle calling the pot, I was saying? And he came back with a real bite saying, he bats at 3 though, and he's miles better than me. I don't know if you want to respond to Duke, but...
Oh, Jez, you can't. We've had him. You can't. We've seen already this week about giving up sources.
Sorry.
It's a tough school.
No, a serious answer to that would be, in general, probably not. I don't think the other side of it really suits my game. More what I said in response to Gav's question was just take a bit more responsibility, or a lot more responsibility, and just sort of seeing situations a little bit better. But they don't complain when the first 2 go over the fence. It's just when I'm walking back. So
absolutely.
No, and if you can, it's a little bit like what I'm with England. You change things, be positive, believe in yourself. And I'm not just saying you, I mean the whole team. The game's changed so much, Laird, and probably into Gav. Believe in what you can do and go for it. If it doesn't work, no one's dead. It's nothing, not the end of the world. It's gutted half an hour or so. But if you believe you can do it, go on and do it.
Yeah.
Then we got another question.
Mm-hmm.
Simmy is fond of missing games for questionable reasons.
Have you changed accounts or numbers at any point during these questions? Or is it the same one?
He misses a couple of games every year for some random reason. For example, his bird's uncle's mum's retirement party.
Shots fired.
And then he decided to go and watch Chelsea in the Champions League for a game that was being played in Rome, I think, and you went to London.
It was Porto in Portugal, but
Porto, yeah.
Well,
what's your reaction to that individual?
The same as it was last time.
You cheeky little eye.
The past is the past. Like I say, it's drawing a fine line between sort of everyday life and obviously the events and family and stuff, and cricket. We're amateurs at the end of the day, kind of thing. So, don't know the next time Chelsea are going to be in a Champions League final, and obviously it was coronavirus, so me and my brother couldn't go. So we thought best to spend it with 60-odd Chelsea fans than 20 Burnley fans.
And one of them being Joe Beneducci.
Next time you see him, Simmy, you just need to fill him in.
It's not a hard task if he thinks he's hard. When he played a few years ago, he was claiming the title hardest in the team. until him and Tom Halstead had a fight at East Lancs.
He won.
Well, it turns out that Joe Beneducci did win. However, it was you're best off asking Tom Halstead about this, but he used illegal means.
Right.
In Tom Halstead's words, he pulled my pubes.
Oh no! Well, this is a family podcast, Jack. You're gonna have to edit that out.
Oh, I do apologise, Joe.
I've never seen Joe Beneducci lose a fight.
I've never seen Tom Halstead pubes.
Yeah, you can tick that one off as well.
Brilliant. That it's good. It's a good insight, Simmy. There, it's a tough job, and people who are listening to this played will understand what it's about. Those who haven't played but watch a lot will also, those rainy days at home when your covers on or to get them from stop messing about. But you'll get so much from it. The club will get from you and develop as a player. No doubt. So from me and the house cast members, and thanks. Before we move on, we've got these draws to do. Is there anything else you want to add, Timmy, before I go around the two co-hosts? Anything you want to add or point out?
Nothing particularly, no. Just thank you very much for having me on. Pleasure.
You're more than welcome, and all real good luck for next year. Gav, anything you want to round off before we move on to?
No, not really. No, I just want to wish Simmy all the best. All the best luck. He'll have so much support. Everyone will be willing him on to do well. No more than the lads who he's leading. So best of luck, and I'm sure he'll go. I'm sure it'll be a massive success.
Gavin,
Joe,
I can only repeat Gav's sentiments. Jack, good luck. You will be excellent.
thanks, Joseph.
No problem at all.
I just wonder when Joe's ever going to contribute anything. Right, so that takes us on. We'll do the draws. We have got at least two. Simmy, if you want to go, if you've got some freshers parties.
I'll stay and watch my 80 quid rolling.
And
know.
Say, what time are you meeting lads in players?
Quiet one today.
I'll tell you what,
all right.
if you win again, it's been non-stop from you and your brother. And
well, sort of two for price of one, innit? Me and my brother share our winning depending on who gets it. I think he's about 3 and 4, and I've only got 1, so he's a bit short change from it, but I'm not complaining.
And I always
say to you, Jez, if I win, we'll split it, me and you. So just think on.
Right. The first prize is Gav Shields. No. As everyone knows who listens to this, it's all audited. It's all transparent, and we do it as live as possible. It's a pity Matt Stansfield didn't come on this tonight, because he's the one. After every draw, my phone is red hot with his numbers nodding. I'm fiddling it because I'm best mate with Gav that Matt Stanley don't win. Comes out with random rubbish. But he was invited on tonight, but declined the offer. So we'll move on to the draw. We need to do January and February's draw. As previously, Joe Martin has randomly selected a bag of balls. What's the name of the balls this time, Joe?
I never know what to say when you ask me that.
Well, maybe if you'd have planned and thought of it beforehand, you might have come.
I know, but you were saying something like that it's... Oh, I don't know. You're saying that it's something to do with the National Lottery.
Genevieve or
Merlin.
Lancelot. They have all these names for these different balls, so it's not fiddled.
It's not like Kelvin or Craig or something like that.
No, Joe. So I said, next time.
Well, these are Stan Heaton's.
Stan Heaton's balls. Well, it must be a big bag.
Al's teeth.
So, if you don't mind, Joe, random number generator from 1 to 177.
Yep. We're on it.
Once again, we've got numerous 3 numbers available. I think we're up to about 25. We have got a couple of new members that have come in.
Oh, fantastic.
Recently. Jez Hope. Thanks, Jez, for joining the draw. Thanks ever so much, and I hope you're successful. I'm going to find you your number now. Paul Grace. Thanks for joining, Paul. You've got 2 numbers, number 11 and number 25.
And he's won, hasn't he?
Yeah, he won in the last one, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Laura Hudson is number 34. She's joined this year. middle of last year, Tommy Briley, and he won. He won.
It's an American.
Paul Bamford's just joined recently. So thanks to all these people that are joining. Kevin McGinty. So, Di, you won't be listening live because we're not getting it out there live. But your number is number 84. Di's paid up front. So if 84 comes out, then Di will win. If that comes out, there's going to be a proper.
Damn straight.
Damn straight. So,
does the National Lottery go through people's numbers before before the start?
Only if it's Kelvin or Roger. If it's them balls, well, then you ever do.
Yeah.
Great.
There's millions of those. This is a community thing. I'm trying to keep everyone interested and involved.
Yeah.
So 1 to 177, please. Shake them up, Joe, and pull us a number out. Ooh.
170.
And this is for £100 for the January draw. Number 170 is Dennis Daly. Now, Dennis is a legendary supporter. Big mate of Charlie Chip, all that crew from the canteen. I think they're going, Gav. I think they're still going there.
At Railway. And,
yeah. Red House. Is that still there, Red House?
Red House.
Yeah, is Red House still open, Gav?
No.
Is it
It's not been open for a long time on Red House in Grove.
A shame. They used to have something there, didn't we? Back. Yeah. So anyway, Dennis Daly, a nice cheeky little £100 going to you. I do think Dennis shares with Charlie Chips.
Oh, super.
But we'll have to. I'll send it to Dennis, I think, rather than Charlie. The next number, please, Joe.
156.
Number 150. So this is for £80. 166 is Jeff.
56. 156.
I nearly said the name. 156. Oh, bless it. It's Matt Marquis. Yeah, Matt Marquis is actually Geraldine Marquis. It's not.
No, Geraldine. She lives on the Fold. Not the Fold. She lives on Thornhill.
Yeah, I could picture her now, but I didn't know her last name was Marquis.
Yeah.
I'm making a bit of an arse of there.
No, not at all, Jez.
Geraldine
So
Marquis.
the fantastic thing about live broadcasting, anything can happen.
Number 156. Well done. That's £80 on its way to you. So the third prize for the January draw, please, Joe. Pull us another number out.
Number 59.
Laura, Elaine Hayes.
Oh, fantastic.
Elaine, obviously married to one of the absolute legends of the club that kept the club going through some real difficult times back in the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s. Jack, bless his soul. So well done, Elaine Hayes. I'll get the cash to you very soon. For the last prize, 9. I need to write them down because none of you lot can.
Is it a fruitcake?
Oh, the fruitcake. A bloody fruitcake.
No, that needs to be cut out as well. Jesus.
It's a Mike King job.
Yeah, maybe. That doesn't make it better.
£70. Oh, no, £50 for the last prize in the January draw. Please pull us a number out, please, Joe.
155. These are high numbers.
Shake them up. Shake them up.
Number 155. That's Garth Rouse. Garth is a massive a really big friend of Stan. He's only been in a couple of years. Pays regularly away. He's a top bloke, he's Garth. So well done, Garth. £50 coming your way.
Excellent.
Excellent. So that's January. Thanks, Joe. If you can put those balls back in your sack.
Yeah.
And
we're now on Iggy's.
As well, Joe, because there were a lot of high numbers there, weren't there?
Yeah, there were. But, look at the draw.
Shuffle them up. So what's the name of these balls?
These are Brian Higgins.
It's all got very carry on, this, hasn't it? It's all got very carry on.
Thanks very much, Joe. Brian Higgins, shake your balls. Give us a number, Joe.
136. Wow.
36.
136.
Yeah, 136.
All right, good.
That's what I said. That's a fantastic. What a lap there is. Look who's come to say hello.
Oh, fantastic.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello.
You see, Jez, the issue is this is on audio, so they'll just think you've gone insane.
136. A top lad. He goes down the club all the time. In fact, me and this lad went to school together, but at separate schools, and he used to kick lumps out of me at football. Any ideas?
Abel?
Shots fired.
Oh my God, this is on Zoom, Joe, and else you'll be
Only joking, Jeremy. I don't know.
Drake.
John Waite.
Oh, Waity. Excellent.
Johnny Waite. Good lad, Johnny
Oh,
Waite.
good. Fantastic.
Excellent.
I knew you'd like that. So, £80 February 2023 draw. For £80, the number is
33.
33. How are you feeling about it?
It's an old school of that.
It is Judith.
Oh, marvellous.
Good win. Good win.
Brilliant. Maybe, Joe,
Yeah.
after our conversation this afternoon, we could withhold that until she agrees to come on the podcast. Is
Yeah, definitely.
that a form of bribery or not?
Yes.
Straight up bribery, but who cares?
Yeah. But, there we go.
Next number, £70
£70. 81.
for 81. Kev K.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent.
Well done, Kev.
Kev's been in a number of years for a long, long time. He did win last year.
I'm going to say, I can remember him winning because we discussed his cricket. It was Joe Beneducci's. He played with Joe Beneducci, didn't he, or something
That's
like that?
The next number, £50 for the February 23 draw.
83.
Number 83, so that's not Kev's. Number 83 is Dave Johnson.
Oh, Jono. Fantastic.
Now,
Well done, Dave.
Dave does win quite often,
Does he?
as far as I remember. I think Dave helps Stan.
He does. Fantastic.
Round and helping it. And Dave was, when we first started this, I think it was Dave that we got Nicky on to draw it once. And Dave
Oh,
mentioned
yeah.
about how boring it was. So we've sacked Nicky. So well done, Dave. £50 coming for the February draw. Joe, thanks ever so much for drawing those numbers. We'll no doubt get bombarded by Matt Stanley and people. Joe Beneducci's a whinger as well when it's not winning. But it's not about the winning, it's about contributing. Been going for about 23, 24 years now as a draw, making some valuable money to pay these coaches to get them through. So anyone wants a number, we have got a few spare, so please join.
I was going to say, Jez, it's fantastic that there's still people joining, and
Yeah,
there's scope for more people to join.
There is scope for more because we do lose the odd one, obviously, as time takes its toll with everyone. So it is to get the new members in. Please, if you want to join, there's a shout. Oh, I forgot to mention Will Driver's joined.
Oh, brilliant.
Well done, Will.
Will's has joined. I'm sorry, Will, you've not won. He would saying how much.
And he's an avid podcast listener.
He is, yeah, he is massive.
One of our biggest fans.
Someone else just shows dog's video.
Well, yeah, why not? There's a different voice this time. New dog.
So anything else to say about the draw? We've
Nothing to say about the draw, Jez.
I'll tell you what I was just thinking there. Number 81 and number 83 won, and Di was 84.
Oh.
But it's all been done transparently. Let's wait and see what abuse we get back. Thanks everyone for contributing. We're joking apart, we really appreciate it. It keeps the club going. There's a lot of money comes in because of it and a lot of money paid out. So thanks everyone. If you can encourage anyone else to draw them on the podcast. So I think we're done for this evening, chaps. We're certainly getting close to Joe's bedtime. Thanks very much, Joe Martin, for joining us. I really appreciate it. You get yourself off to bed. Gav, cheers. Thanks very much. And you'll probably be nipping off to the pub and having 12 pints, won't you? Being a tough, roughy chap.
I'm an athlete, Jez. I'm an athlete, and Monday to Friday, I'm a model professional. So no.
We could see right up your nose then. Gav,
Like
ever so much. Thanks. Gav's properly got into the podcasts, and he's such a great co-host and host to run these for us. So for the listeners out there, we're going to try and do one a week. We're going to try and do them on a Monday as we go into the season. And even if it's just talk about the games, talk about other teams and how the league's going, we will really push to do one a week, or we can manage it. But more importantly than anyone, Jack Simm, thanks ever so much for coming on the podcast. You've bared your soul to us. You've told us what you're hoping for, what your ambitions are. 100%, please. I wish you all the luck in the world and everything. You deserve it. You're such a great servant to the club, Jack. So thanks ever so much for coming on. Do you want to have the last word before we finish?
Can do. Just thank you very much for having me on, and really looking forward to the season. Fingers crossed.
Thanks very much, Jack. So, all you listeners, subscribe, like, whatever else you do on Instagram. Tell your mates about the podcast. We've had Motti on recently, like we said. Some great views and listens from other people that have never been on. So it is developing and growing even more, and we'll keep trying to get them. Thanks, everyone, and good night from. Right, Joe, that's done now. What do I do?
Good job, team.
What do I do before I lose this recording?
Do you want to press stop recording?
I tell you what, Joe, you are going to get.
Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.